Okay, so this weekend I've got a trip scheduled to go wheeling with that thing. Just a regular old family trip down to De Volt. But before I take it wheeling, as I mentioned in my previous many videos, there are a few things that I sort of need to sort out that have really been bugging me, and I'm afraid might cause damage if not sorted before I take it on a proper trail. And chief of that being my 6x9 speaker boxes literally just being set down. And I'm worried that since they're not attached to anything, that all of the jostling around on a trail might end up damaging my speakers. And quite frankly, I don't want to buy another set of speakers just because I didn't have the foresight to mount them. But then I also don't want to drill in to this damn near pristine, mostly rust-free cab just to mount two 6x9s. Yeah, it just feels a bit sacrilegious to drill holes in the actual body of a vehicle in order to secure two measly speakers. So not until I have, or rather until I have an audio setup with a proper speaker box and all the nice fancy components that I am satisfied with, there will not be any holes drilled into that floor or cab. So I sort of spent some time brainstorming, and then shortly afterwards I gathered some things. Now I had to make do with what we had lying around in the garage. So what I have are two tool rolls that I initially bought to go in there, but they don't fit, so I had no use for them, and a piece of aluminium that we just sort of had lying around. Now you can see I've already made some measurements, and I've already removed some of the material just to sort of prove the concept. And I want to be able to remove that entire setup without even being aware that it was ever installed in the first place, so it needs to be completely reversible. So this aluminium rod will basically just slot into these gaps here. Now this is where the little McGaffer you use to get to your spare wheel goes on these Hiluxes, and then there's this open space, and since there's curvature to the cab here, it actually wedges in there pretty well. Then I'm going to fold these over and then probably use my leather making kit to fasten this, make a little slot, and then hang them from the rod. It is pretty strong this way, so they should hold the weight of the speakers. I know these will hold the weight of the speakers because this is army surplus and this material is quite strong. And then after I've got everything mocked up, I'll go ahead with some bits and foam and some adhesive and stuff and whatnot to make sure that this entire I can't really call it an install or a setup, but this entire plan is as snug as possible and completely rattle free. And then once I'm happy with the fitment, I'm going to take some measurements and literally attach the speaker boxes to these little flaps, and they will just sort of be suspended from them. In here lie all the tools that I will be using. This is a little leather making kit that's older than I am, and that has been in storage for a long time. I don't know, it's older than I am. I do not know its history. Now the original plan was just to secure the fold using rivets, but the rivet tool sort of didn't get to there. Then the next plan was to just suture it up. I don't have the grip strength to get this through here. And then finally I found this. It's a weird nail. I used a hammer to pre-pierce this and then stitch it up, and I think it's taking shape. Lots of improvisation, and it's not perfect, but it will do the job. Now to do the next side. And there you can about see how this entire thing is gonna work. It's stupid simple. Because really, this system install, whatever you may call it, is dumb. But you might be able to say that it's so dumb, it's brilliant.
No! It's just dumb!
And that is how this little plan of mine is going to look inside the vehicle. But since my space is so limited behind these seats, I need to make sure that I suspend these boxes as low as I possibly can. So I just gotta sort of mock them up, then grab a marker, and while it's mocked up, demarcate where I need this to be set, take everything out, and then just, well, attach these to the actual suspenders. Now I just need to remember the black terminal gets the yellow wire. It's spring loaded. Black terminal gets the yellow wire, and the red terminal gets the black wire. And then the same goes for this side. No, don't do that. Gotta tidy that up. Yeah, I got busy with something else, and it is just after 9 o'clock. I had to go and look for a little table so I can work underneath the lights. But I gotta finish this up before I go to bed tonight. Now, in my mind at least, using these staples with the staple gun was the most logical way to attach these flaps or suspenders to the boxes. I mean, they're sturdy, they can hold up the weight, there's a lot of them, most importantly, and it'll take some time, but they are removable and they shouldn't leave much of a mark or a lot of scarring on the actual materials I used. Okay, so I went back and used some of this stuff to introduce some padding to the back and bottoms of each box, as well as introducing some more, or rather adding some more staples to the top of each box where they fasten to the flap. Now the padding is there because, well, these suspenders are only really to limit the movement. Both of these boxes will still be resting on the floor of the vehicle, so the full weight of the boxes will not be hanging from the suspenders. The suspenders will just sort of keep them in place, along with some other plans I might have, but those are only maybes. These are the only things that are for sure to keep these speakers where they should be. There you go. It actually has kind of a look to it with all of this olive green. And with the seats backwards, you can just see the suspenders peeking out. And back there you can see the little ammo bags, sort of hiding the aluminium bar I've got there. And I'm glad to call that sorted. I hope.